Making mistakes, accepting flaws. The greatest mistake you can make in life is to be continually fearing you will make one. Albert Hubbard. When we teach our children how to ride a bicycle, we know they will fall. Only when they fall will they learn to ride. While in some instances we are liberal and allow or even encourage mistakes, in most instances we tend to be overprotective or judgmental. We worry about children making mistakes, about the choice of subjects in school and college, choosing the wrong profession, or most importantly, deciding on a life partner. When children tell their parents about their mistakes, they often get scolded. As children grow older, they stop sharing their mistakes, as the earlier experience conditions their mind not to share, but to hold within. It is, therefore, crucial that we form a relationship with our children at a young age that not only allows them the freedom to make mistakes, but also gives them the confidence to talk about where and when they may have faltered. In this case, imbibing Mahatma Gandhi's words, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes, would be ideal. When one of Devang's sporting heroes, Tiger Woods, made the headlines not for winning but because of his inappropriate behavior, I saw that Devang was dejected. So I told him, we make mistakes, we all do, even Tiger Woods. That is what makes us human. What is important is to learn from each mistake so that it is never repeated. History is full of examples of how mistakes have altered the course of events. Retelling them in the light of their positive outcomes can give children the confidence that mistakes need not be associated only with negativity. The best example of this is Emperor Ashoka. When Ashoka saw soldiers in pain, wailing wives, and orphaned children after he had conquered Kalinga, he was filled with overwhelming remorse. He underwent a transformation and decided to observe Dhamma, path of righteousness, and teach others about it as well. He spread the message of ahimsa across his empire and played a major role in spreading Buddhism even beyond his empire. More than 2000 years have passed since Ashoka's reign ended, but he is still remembered as an ideal ruler. Another such example is Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi committed a theft when he was 15. He stole a bit of gold out of his brother's armlet, but couldn't bear the guilt and made up his mind to confess to his father. While he did not want to hurt his father's feelings, he knew that a confession was required. He wrote in his autobiography the story of my experiments with truth. I wrote it on a slip of paper and handed it to him myself. In this note, not only did I confess my guilt, but I asked adequate punishment for it and closed with a request to him not to punish himself for my offense. He read it through and pearl drops trickled down his cheeks, wetting the paper. For a moment, he closed his eyes in thought and then tore up the note. I had thought that he would be angry, say hard things, but he was so wonderfully peaceful. Without hurdles, there is no learning. It is not just ordinary men and women who make mistakes. Those destined to become great do so too. Thomas Alva Edison had 1093 inventions to his credit. When he invented the light bulb, a journalist asked him, "Mr. Edison, how did it feel to fail 999 times?" Edison replied, "I have not failed 999 times. I have simply found 999 ways how not to create a light bulb." Each time he did not succeed, he learned from that mistake. His resolve grew stronger with each mistake, and he finally invented the light bulb, exemplifying the fact that there are no mistakes in life, only lessons. Thomas Watson, the founder of IBM, once said, "The way to succeed is to double your error rate." In the 1940s, a mistake by an IBM employee cost the company a whopping $1 million. Fearing termination, the employee handed over his resignation to Watson, only to be told, "Fire you? I've just invested $1 million in your education, and you think I'm going to fire you?" When children get criticized by family, friends, and teachers, even ridiculed for the mistakes they make, they need reassurance. Reassurance of the kind that only parents can provide. Unfortunately, quite often, they get the opposite of that. When they get judged, and judged often, the bridge they want to walk on gets burnt. It is not that parents should not discuss mistakes with children. They should, but with an open mind, in a non-judgmental manner, focusing more on the future rather than on the past. More time should be spent discussing how to prevent the same mistake again, rather than criticizing the past. John Maxwell put it beautifully. A person must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. If our children see us correct our mistakes, they will develop the confidence to confess to us about their own mistakes in the hope that we will help correct them. We want our children to be flawless. We believe that their flaws will jeopardize their future. In our quest for correcting their flaws, we often damage our relationships. Our children need to know that we have confidence in their abilities in spite of their imperfections. One way of conveying this is to talk about people who have achieved success in the presence of obvious flaws by making sure that their other qualities shine through. Winston Churchill was the architect of Britain's victory in World War II. While he was considered a brilliant and charismatic leader, critics thought he was stubborn and arrogant. Churchill also made several mistakes in his career. He changed parties twice. He was instrumental in sending troops to Turkey in World War I, which resulted in the loss of numerous lives and precious resources. While he made errors of judgment, Churchill had the wisdom to recognize them and change course. He displayed extraordinary leadership in very difficult circumstances to boost the morale of his nation. Under him, the British people believed that they could win the war. He gave people hope and finally victory. His flaws and mistakes did not prevent him from becoming one of the finest leaders Britain has seen. Even folklore has many such examples to offer. I particularly like to tell parents the story about the two pots. There was once a water bearer who travelled a long distance to bring water from a stream to his master's home. He carried two pots, one at each end of a long pole. While one pot was perfect, the other pot had a crack. The perfect pot was able to deliver water to its full capacity, while the pot with the crack was able to deliver only half of its capacity. The cracked pot was really sad and said to the water bearer, "I am so sorry. I am a liability. Half the water you put in me is lost because of my crack. You work hard, yet because of my flaw, you are unable to take two full pots of water to your master. You should discard me and get another perfect pot." The water bearer smiled and replied, "When we go back home tomorrow, please watch the path." The next day, the cracked pot noticed beautiful flowers along the road. When they reached home, the cracked pot said, "While I enjoyed looking at the beautiful flowers, I felt so inadequate." The water bearer replied, "There are flowers only on your side. I knew that water would leak from you as we walked home. I, therefore, planted flower seeds on your side of the path. It is because of you that I have been able to take flowers to my master. It is your flaw that has added to the beauty of my master's home." Just like the two pots, our children might not be equally accomplished. Despite similar upbringing and education, one child might turn out to be a little less accomplished. Yet, each child makes his or her own precious contribution to the family in his or her own unique way. As parents, we need to love our children equally and accept their shortcomings. In fact, we should find goodness in their imperfections, just like the water bearer. Some children are vivacious, others are quiet. Some excel in academics, others in sports. Some like to be left alone, others prefer hand-holding. It is not for us to decide who is better, who is exceptional, and who is perfect. Our role as parents is to give love unconditionally. We, as parents, also sometimes do not realize that when we complain about the flaws in our children, we are not perfect ourselves. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "I look only to the good qualities of men. Not being faultless myself, I won't presume to probe into the faults of others. We need to accept the fact that we aren't perfect, and neither are our children." Man will ever remain imperfect, and it will always be his part to try to be perfect. Mahatma Gandhi.